It is a well-known practice among men that each time we want somebody to make a decision in our favor, we normally take up some strategies in order to influence them to make those decisions. And I've been wondering if we can do that with God Himself. My name is Apostle Caleb C. Calebs, the senior pastor of Life Mending One Mission. I come here today to talk to you about how you can influence God to do things in your life. Biblical strategy, wisdom, which is also revealed by God Himself. So follow me as we read scriptures from Psalm 115. I'm taking from verse 1. It said, "Not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory, for thy mercy and for thy truth's sake. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is now their God?" I want you to underscore three major things in this particular passage. Number one is for thy name. Number two, thy mercy. And number three, for your truth's sake. You see the nations, the government, each time they want to influence another nation, they send out diplomatic envoy to those nations to lobby them, to make sure that they make decisions maybe in the platform of UN or in international decisions. You see them sending out envoy. Even if you look into the Bible, you can also see King Balak sending out honorable men with powerful envelopes that is called the reward of divination, given unto Prophet Balaam in order to influence him to come down to curse Israel. Also, you see in various offices where people give out bribe, they bribe their way, they give out money, they do certain things. We employ different strategies that we employ in order to get people to make decisions that favors us. Those strategies are influences we build on people in order to make them to favor us in their decision. But the question is, can that be visible with God? The first thing that you need to understand is you need to know the kind of God, the kind of person God is for you to influence him. You cannot influence a person that you don't know the kind of person that he is, because even when those nations go, the diplomats that are sent, they try to find out the need of the nation, the things that can give them advantage in lobbying. For you to influence God, you must first of all know who God is. And to help us to unravel that about God, we need to look into certain scriptures. Let's look at Romans chapter 11, verse 33. In Romans chapter 11, verse 33, the Bible said, "Oh, the depth of the riches, both of the wisdom and knowledge of God, how unsearchable are his judgment and his ways pathfinding." The first thing that you need to know about God is that he is a person that you cannot understand the process, the dynamics, the facts that leads to him to arrive to the decision of what he want to do. His ways are past finding. So each time that you're dealing with God, understand that you cannot understand how God arrives to his place of decision. He is that kind of person. Too difficult to fathom his ways. The second thing that you need to understand about God is that he is a person that you can never give anything that he have not given to you first. So how can you bribe God? How can you give him what that will influence him? Because before ever you are able to give him anything, he gave it to you first. The third thing about God is that he is not a respecter of anybody. No man can influence him or make him to change his mind on the things that he have decided to do. The fourth thing that you need to know about God, according to Isaiah chapter 46 verse 10, is that God will always do what pleases him. God will always carry out his pleasure. Now, if this is the kind of person that God is, how then can we influence him to do things? Three major things. The first thing that influences God is his name. When the Bible says his name in the book of 115 that we read, we're talking about his reputation. The reputation of God among men can cause God to change his mind, to change his strategy. Remember that when Moses was bringing the people out of Egypt, and God said to him, Moses, you know what? Because these people are stiff-necked people, I'm going to wipe them away and I'm going to start a new generation from you. And you know what Moses said? Moses said, God, how can you do that? Do you know what the people will say about you? That you are able to bring them out, but you're not able to take them into. He said, oh, is it the kind of reputation that they will have about me? Moses said, yes. He said, okay, I changed my mind. But God did what he wanted to do, but he changed his strategy. Instead of killing all of them at once, he fed them, he gave them miracle. As they were growing, their shoes were growing, their clothes were growing, but he was allowing them to die one after the other, giving the next generation opportunity to grow. You see, God was influenced to change his strategy just because his reputation was at stake. The second thing is his mercy. The mercy of God can influence God to change his mind. Remember that the mercy of God is the tool that he used to fulfill his elections on the elected, irrespective of what the elected does. So God, on the ground of his mercy, can really change things and change his mind and give mercy instead of judgment. So the mercy of God is another place you can hold on to God and then get him to change his mind. He told David, I'm going to wipe away the whole Israel because you number the people when I ask you not to number your people, the people. But David knew that God's mercy can be a way out. He said, I better fall into the hands of the Lord. 70,000 have been killed. But when he came to the threshing floor of Anod, he saw the altar that Abraham built 14 generations ago. And God had to stay the destruction because of his mercy. Mercy and God's reputation, they are two powerful tools that you can use to influence God to change his actions and his decisions among men. The last one is the truth of God. His truth talks about his integrity. Remember, he had lifted his word above his own name. So God, when you hold God on his word, he's going to change his mind and he's going to do every single thing that you want him to do if you are holding him on his word. Three major ways to influence God: his mercy, his name, and his truth. They are places that you can hold on to God, and when you do, God will change his mind. Till I see you again, keep on influencing God in the area of his mercy, in the area of his truth, and in the area of his name. And you're going to see the power of God is going to be upon your life. Till I meet you again, is still Apostle Caleb's, the Senior Pastor of Life Mending World Mission and the Chief Executive Officer of Life Mending Radio. Bye.